Before really diving into any market, it's important to actually understand that market. So that's exactly what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to go over everything you need to know about the current NFT market so you don't make some of these rookie mistakes that a lot of people end up making. So the first thing is the crypto and NFT market is constantly changing. What is hot and relevant 3 months ago could now be old news that no one cares about. And that's just the nature of the space. There's all these different narratives that are constantly changing of what's hype, of what's going to work, and what people want to actually put their money into. So staying on top of what's actually hot and grinding out whitelist spots or allow list spots early on to these different high potential projects is how you really win when it comes to the NFT space. Most of these projects, at least 99%, and probably even higher than that, probably like 99.5% guys, do not last more than a year. The vast majority die within a few months after their mint or even fail to mint out their collection in the first place. And the reason is because it is such an attention-based economy. And the moment that the attention is gone on the project is the moment that they are no longer growing in holders and they eventually just have a slow burn. Now, like I just said, most of the money is to be made in minting these NFTs. And if you want a guide on how to mint NFTs and grind the whitelist, I have a separate video where I go over that in detail. Typically, though, minting these whitelist spots and then selling them within the first week where the hype and the attention is still the highest is the most profitable thing to do in the NFT ecosystem. And there are some ones that perform in the long term, and these can sometimes pull crazy gains like over 100x, but they are far less likely. And you really have to see a lot of crazy potential with that project to have that much conviction. Now, you may be wondering, Jay, why do so many projects fail? And what should I look for when it comes to finding a project that actually has some potential? Well, I got you guys, because by explaining how projects fail, you also know what to look for when it comes to projects that are going to succeed. And it's pretty much the opposite of this list. So the first and number one problem is that they cannot keep attention. It's an attention-based economy. I've said that 30 times in this learning program already, and I'll continue to say this. This is all about hype and attention. We have so many new projects coming out all the time that are gaining attention and only a certain amount of liquidity. And as attention dies, so does the growth of that project. Another massive issue with a lot of NFTs is there's no real product. A lot of times it's just Ponzi-nomic type stuff where they're hoping that more people buy that after them, rather than having something that is sustainable and actually has a business model. Speaking of sustainability, cash flow is a huge reason why a lot of NFT projects fail. They get a huge raise in the very beginning. They're now no longer incentivized to really keep up the project outside of royalties. And then they burn through way more money than they were expecting or spend their money in stupid ways. And now they don't have any more funds to keep up the project. And in this situation, they might try doing another mint. And when they do this, it actually dilutes you as a holder, because now all of a sudden there's more NFTs in circulation. And this is how a lot of projects die too. They end up having too many collections. Another reason is there are anonymous teams out there that just wanted to rug and have ill intentions. There are teams that make millions of dollars a year making new NFT projects, selling them, and then rugging them right away because they're staying anonymous and they know what to do to really gather a lot of attention. So that's another reason why that's such a bad rep in the NFT space, is you just have a bunch of scams. There's also the ignorance factor from founders that don't actually understand how to run a business or how to run a Web3 business. There are differences when it comes to running a Web3 business, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to community management, when it comes to communication. I mean, there are so many differences. And I feel like a lot of people get into this space and don't understand how the economy of NFTs work or how the culture really is. Another thing that has held NFTs back is just a volatile macro market conditions and limited liquidity in NFTs. Crypto itself is so volatile, it's constantly going all over the place, and there isn't that much liquidity or that many people buying NFTs. And due to this lack of volume, you have a drop in prices for most projects, as well as a lack of interest for people getting into them. Another major issue is poor communication and marketing. Because it's an attention-based economy and because there's so much going on, you need to have someone that has the ability to communicate the actual product and what you guys are trying to achieve, as well as a good marketing team that's able to make the different posts, whether that's YouTube videos or Discord or Twitter or go on Twitter Spaces, whatever the case is, and have good graphics to actually do that and grab people's attention. And a lot of times these projects don't actually know how to market their product, even though it's a great product. The next next thing is that a lot of big and strong teams and projects have stopped doing NFT sales and instead do fungible token sales. The reason they do this is because they can raise way more money, and then they can also allocate themselves a portion of those fungible tokens that they usually have a cliff or vest on that they can sell over time. And because they're able to raise way more money, they are able to have way larger economies of scale and a higher level of competitiveness. And that's actually my final point here, is the fact that if a project is trying to build a borrowing and lending protocol and one team has raised $100 million through VCs and a token sale and airdrop, and then the other team has only raised $1 million, then they have 100 times less money than the team that did the fungible token sale. So you have a lot more projects, instead of selling an NFT project, they're selling a fungible token project. And because of these economies of scale and because of these additional resources, they're able to be way more competitive than any sort of NFT project out there. And because of that, they're able to make way more money. So it's one of those situations where even if the NFT project made a real product, it's very hard for them to have the level of competitiveness to actually be able to compete with some other project out there that has a fungible token and has allocations and has a VC and has all of these different things going for it. And because of that fact, a lot of strong teams that would have inherently launched some sort of NFT project are now no longer doing that. So the overall quality of different NFT projects and the teams that are launching them are a lot less. And with that lesser quality, you're going to have lesser projects that aren't able to fully achieve what they set out to achieve. So as far as projects that I look for to invest in, I look for the opposite of this, guys. And for that economies of scale thing, I look for teams that are very smart and can adapt and are trying to figure out competitive advantages or moats that they can have that money or resources can't necessarily easily buy. For me, I know one of the most competitive advantages we have with Jelly Cubes, which is my own project, is my ability to communicate as well as have a YouTube channel. And I can leverage that YouTube channel and this learning program, for example, that you're watching, to find more people that want to join our community, that want to be a part of what we're doing at Jelly Cubes and find the alpha and find the information and find these different plays and find these different opportunities. So this is something that for us is a lot more time sensitive and a lot more time extensive rather than needing a ton of capital to build out some sort of other product out there. So you'll occasionally run into NFT projects like Jelly Cubes where with their economies of scale, we were able to identify an area where we can be competitive in and we can have a moat in and we can leverage the resources we have and still be competitive without having nearly as much money or resources as some of these other projects out there. So to kind of summarize everything I said, most NFT projects will fail, but the ones that survive end up doing very well in the long term because they really have to be a solid team in order to pull that off. There are a lot of factors that make success in NFTs very difficult in the long term, but that mostly stems from losing attention and not being able to keep that attention. The most amount of money to be made in this space is by going for NFT mints and selling right away, and then grinding and farming whitelist spots to either sell those spots or mint these high quality, hyped up projects is going to be, once again, the most profitable route with the lowest downside. Now you guys pretty much know why a lot of NFT projects are failing, a little bit more about the current market, as well as what I personally look for when it comes to finding a project.